Hello Niraj, how are you?
Hi, good. I'm good. Selamat malam semua.
Yeah, my voice sounds clear?
Yes, very much clear.
Okay, very good. So, welcoming all the participants in our talks. I'm already telling them that I will conduct the discussion in English, but I will do separately in Bahasa a bit. But Niraj, I think you already speak Bahasa a bit, right? Mengerti
Bisa
lah dikit
sedikit
kan?
tapi belum
Ya,
pintar.
it's okay Niraj. It's permulaan yang bagus. So, yang mau ngajukan pertanyaan silakan boleh dalam bahasa Indonesia and I can translate to English for Niraj.
Siap.
So, how are you Niraj? What keep you busy these days? Everything going
Uh,
back to normal or starting to get back
not,
normal a bit?
not yet, not yet, but moving towards that direction. So it is still that we are in the middle of the pandemic, but things are improving. Business is improving. However, medical situation in the country is still challenging. So we have to pass through that.
Hmm, I see.
So,
But so your office and the retail shops are already starting to be open
so for
partially or?
office, for us at Matahari, we took a very cautious approach. So we closed our stores before PSBB was implemented in Indonesia. So to be precise, I think it was 30th of March, 30 Maret. We closed all our stores other than 3 stores, and it was before any PSBB was implemented because we were seeing the trend across the world, and we wanted to ensure that our staff and our customers are safe. So considering that, we made a conscious call of closing all our stores, and I think that was the right decision to do. So we took 1 month, all our stores closed, and then we gradually started opening it, looking at what is the PSBB restriction in the country. So even till today, we do not operate all our stores. We closely adhere to the government PSBB restrictions. So to give you an example, we have our stores in Ambon, which are still closed. We have our stores in Tangerang, which are still closed. But yes, we have opened selected stores, but with a lot of safety measures in place, because we know that safety is of the utmost importance at this stage of time.
I see, I see. Before we discuss deeper, Niraj, I think some of the our audiences, I need to make a proper introduction about you first. I think because some of them asking about, are you an entrepreneur or are you an executive? So Pak Niraj is CFO. Beliau adalah CFO dari PT Matahari Department Store, TBK Matahari ya. Siapa sih yang nggak kenal Matahari kan semua pasti sudah kenal. Nah, sebelum bergabung bersama Matahari, beliau adalah seorang CFO di Kanmo Retail Group yang merupakan sebuah perusahaan retail juga yang mungkin kalau di Indonesia terkenalnya oleh brand bayi dan anak-anak, Mother Care, kemudian juga brand-brand fashion seperti
Coach,
Coach,
yes.
ya Coach, exactly. Dan ada banyak lagi brand retail lainnya. So Niraj udah spend how many years in Indonesia, Niraj? How many
This is
until today?
completing 8 years now, like 8 on. So
Sudah 8 tahun.
almost Indonesian now, half Indonesian.
Now talking about Indonesia, yeah, and of course you spent some part of also of your career back in India, right? I
Yes.
think you also in India you work in consumer related industry, right? In Yum
Yeah.
Brands, right?
Brand. So I was working with Yum Brands in India, which is the owner for brands, which I'm sure you all
It's
know, Pizza
Pizza
Hut,
Hut, right? Yeah,
Pizza Hut, and KFC. And
I
I
see.
know that their third brand, which is Taco Bell, is going to come to Indonesia in 2020. So
I
work
see.
with that brand also in the consumer space.
I see. Now, talking about the two markets, India market and Indonesia market, from your perspective, Niraj, how do you see the similarities and the differences?
See, if you look at India and Indonesia, I think they are co-joined by names. Like, even half of their name or almost full of their name is similar. India, which has got IND, and also same is with Indonesia. So I think they are co-joined by names, and there's a lot of similarity. There are more similarities than difference between the two markets. I would say if you look at consumer, it is both consumer-led economy. It has both has got huge population, and both has got middle class people or people who are continuously growing. So it is both developing economy. I would say in terms of habits also, I think it is very, very similar. Both has got very strong attachment to family bonding, like Indonesia, which is both, I would say, more of a Asia versus a Western world. So very, very connected economies. One difference that I see is eating habits, whereas Indonesians like to eat out more than Indians, I would say, from my experience. You would not see Indian kind of eating out so many times in a week, but I think Indonesians love to eat out and eat out every time, So I think that is a difference, but a lot more of similarities between the two markets. Family driven, consumer based economy, growing, aspirational, developing economy. And I think something which is very similar is also people, so a lot of similarities.
Even though during this PSBB, I think more Indonesian has to cook at home, right? Because we cannot go out to the restaurant to dine in there. Probably the maximum we can do is order the food, right?
Yeah, but I see through Instagram that a lot of Indonesians have started cooking at home now, and you could see a lot of them putting on their Instagram post as to what they are exploring.
Exactly. Even though I think most of them will do that for Instagram purpose, but probably they still order some of it. And talking about food, right? And talking about the retail itself, you also Kanmo, your previous employer, let's say it's and Matahari probably has similarity and also probably has differences as well, right? Because your previous employer probably more focused on the luxury, has some component of luxury on their brands, on their portfolio. Also, mom and kids products as well. And Matahari is totally different, right? So it's mass market, I believe. How do you see the industry itself?
I think there are distinct differences between the two places when I look at it. So just for people to understand, Canmo was more to do a little more on the premium side. I would put in with brands like Mothercare, Justice, Early Learning Center, or say on the luxury side with brands like Coach, Kate Spade, Nespresso. Whereas Matahari, as you all know, is more heart of Indonesia and more in the center of everything, serving the middle class population of Indonesia. In terms of when I look at it, another big difference is in terms of number of cities that they are present in, whereas Matahari is present in almost every corner of the country. They have stores across the country in 75, 76 cities now, whereas Kenmo was more with tier A population. During COVID, I would say there is a larger impact on middle class versus a premium class. So yes, there are impacts and there's difference in both, but I think I read it somewhere that pandemics or abnormal situations do unite people, and that I have seen that during this tough period we have seen that everybody is coming together and trying their best to help each other. So that is what keeps united between all across the population, I would say.
I see. And then how do you see the retail in India compared to Indonesia, let's say?
Okay, this is a tough question. See, again, there is a population is very diverse, right? Even in India as well as in Indonesia. In Indonesia, what we have seen is initially people were when COVID was starting to come, people were more scared across category. more so with the more educated level, if I put it up that way. And then it started to affect everyone. So in terms of market, we saw that the initial impact was more in more educated market, or more kind of seen market like Jakarta and Surabaya. It was not initially impacting the tier 3 market, to put it up that way, right? But gradually everybody starting to become aware. And in terms of reopening, what we have seen is in those markets also it reopened more because the impact of Lebaran is much higher in a tier 2, tier 3 market, as the population mix is little different. Also, Jakarta was in PSBB for a longer period of time than most of the other parts of the country. So Jakarta is getting back into shape at a later stage, but other markets have come up faster. However, from a retail perspective, what I have seen is customers or consumers are actually having a different view on consumers are having a different view in terms of their priority as to what they want to shop, right? And when a customer is coming up as the markets are reopening, they are very, very clear that they first want to buy essentials. So that's a difference, that instead of going for something like a, say, to put it in a, they will first buy a children's wear before buying a ladies' fashion. So there's clearly a set of trend that we can see in there.
Yeah. Many people talk about there will be the new normal, right? And how do you see the new normal in retail?
I think it will, COVID has made us all rethink of what we do and why we do, right? That's a fact, whether we agree to it or not. So all retailers will need to ensure that they cater to customers, because customers is at the center of everything and anything that any business does. And that is what we at Matahari are also focused on, to ensure that we meet what our customers look at. Clearly, from a retail perspective, it will have an impact for a shorter period of time. But if you look at how various channels have opened, like I'll give you an example. In the past, we used to talk about, oh, is e-commerce impacting your retail sale, right? That was the communication. But nowadays it is not only e-commerce, it is also social commerce, and you could see almost all of us shopping through Instagram or shopping through WhatsApp chat, for that matter. Like at Matahari, we have got we quickly built in our social commerce, which we call it as shop and talk, and we see a lot of customers actually shopping using WhatsApp, interacting with our customer service staff or with our staffs in the store, and buying products using WhatsApp. So it has changed the way. However, as we go back to as we go out of new normal and go back to our own lives, we'll still have people who would go back to the malls for dinner, for activities, and will still be shopping. So it will not be that customers will 100% move to one channel. It will be that customers will be exploring multiple channels, whether it is e-commerce, whether it is social commerce, whether it is shopping in store. So it will be more omni-channel, to put it up in that perspective. And also in terms of customer habits, customers would be a little cautious in terms of where they spend money on, at least for a period of time. I think office culture would change. So in the past, there were many offices that would require you to wear formals, for example, right? I think it is very likely that most offices would move from a formal to a casual wear. The other change which I expect is also more and more offices will start flexible working hours. More and more companies will allow work from home. So to give you an example, for our support center staff, we actually during COVID moved more than 300 desktops from office to our staff's home so that they can work from home. And initially when it was coming to COVID, we never thought that, initially we said that, oh, people can't work from home, they don't have laptops. And then you try to find out a solution, and over a 1 week, 10 days period, you started moving desktops at home. And when I look at it, actually now I feel that we can do exactly the same thing that we are doing from office from home now. I see people responding. I see that everything is going on in line with what we expected. Actually, Zoom meetings and Skype meetings have also forced us to be more focused and more prepared for meetings, because you know that you are going in a meeting and you have a 30 minutes and then there's another meeting starting. So it's no more the peak that, oh, I can get into a meeting and the meeting instead of 1 hour is going for 5 hours. At times used to happen in the past, but now with Zoom and everything, the meeting agenda is set beforehand because we know that somebody has to prepare for it. So it's moving in the right direction, I would say. It's a cultural change. It's a behavioral change. We know that everybody is more concerned about safety now, and I think it is a good piece that everybody is becoming more and more safety focused kind of now.
Yeah, agree with that. I remember, Niraj, we used to discuss about in your previous company about how the company tried to promote or tried to initiate offline and online to offline efforts by building its infrastructures, building its team, uh, and forcing a new way of shopping experiences that involving online to offline experiences. And now with this situation, do you think the online to offline strategy that we think, let's say, 2 years ago, is in line with what the trend is happening right now, or it's a different direction of online?
When I look back at it, and actually I think that COVID has forced us to adopt it. So typically we say that it is a APGP, so it is gradual improvement, but because of COVID, it has gone up like this, and across organization and across people and across behavior. So for Matahari itself, when I look at it, we had our highest ever sale in May on our matahari.com channel, kind of, which is our app as well as on our website, kind of, and we see a lot of new customers actually coming and shopping there. And we know from customer history that they were otherwise shopping in store, but they have now started shopping online as well, which is good for all retail businesses. And also from a customer perspective, they can do research and they can search what product is there. They can go into the store, so they make more informed decisions. So I think COVID has actually positively helped us to pass that journey versus say a China or a more developed American market wherein there was already a strong penetration of omnichannel. But I think COVID has actually helped Indonesian market and Indian market to actually go that direction. And eventually customer will interface with brands at multiple levels, right? Customer is the key, right? We all know it, and we all need to work from how customer shops. So you would see a lot of changes that even happens in Matahari as we become more and more customer focused, and as we change our strategy towards focusing on how customer wants to shop. So to give you some examples, like when we reopened after COVID or during COVID, we ensure that our baby essentials, which typically are at the back near the cashier counter, we moved it in the front, because we knew that customers are coming to shop it and we want them to be able to shop it easily. So these are small changes, but we need to focus on what customer really wants, and make it easy for customer to shop, especially during this period, because nobody wants to be unsafe, right? Everybody wants to stay safe. So how do we ensure that customers feel safe when they visit your stores and when they shop with you? To give you examples on what we did during COVID period was, like, say, for safety reasons, we did not allow customers to use the trial room in the store, right? But at the same time, we increased our a return period when a customer can come and return the product. So we increased the period by double, so that customer can still buy the product, and if they are not able to fit into the size, they can come and return it. And these are all small examples how we enable customers to shop easily. We started using more of scanning the customer barcode, so that we don't need to pass on the cash, and we encourage customers to have little more distancing.
I see. Talking about Matahari, right? Many people will think that fashion is one of the basic necessity other than food, right? And how,
Yes.
how does how does it unveil during this COVID? Is it true? I mean, is people still have allocation for buying for fashion, or do you see there is okay, because of I feel a bit insecurity about my job, or many people lose their job because of the situation, or get furlough, for example, so they focus on buying food first, or try to achieve security in that aspect, so they reduce other spending such as fashion or other things, or do you think, or do you see there is no difference in this trend?
No, there's definitely difference, right? So during tough times, we just go back to our basics, right? And our basic is actually more, comfort, home comfort, food, fashion wear. But at the same time, food has a priority over fashion, like during this period. So clearly, even if you look at when COVID just started, people were focusing on buying their groceries. So there was a lot of pull on groceries, not really on dining in into a restaurant, but more on either being able to cook food at home or being able to get food delivered. But even on food delivery, there was concern that, on from a safety perspective, how many hands is it touching, is it safe to eat or not, and things like that. So clearly, what we observed is that grocery was an initial peak, and then it went into food. In terms of fashion, it was more on starting with essentials. So whether it is kids, as I was telling you earlier, it is on kids, that what do you need for your kid, because their size does change very frequently. So it starts with that, and then it gets into basics. So kind of, it is not buying a formal shirt, but buying a casual T-shirt, a round neck T-shirt. So we do see different level of recovery in different products. Uh, Another piece that we saw is initially there was a spike in activewear, but then that also went down, kind of, as people had that sufficient and they don't need to buy a new pair of shoes, for example. So it is category led, I would put it up that way, and it does impact. So fashion is not yet fully back. I would say for us as a middle, it is more impacted versus higher income group, because we talked about people being on pay cut or on being furlough. Then the amount available to spend is very different between various people, right? Various income group. So it does have an impact on shopping behavior by income group and also by category.
Yep. Is there any extraordinary efforts? Let's say, I don't know, if I were a businessman in this situation, for example, that sell fashion, probably I will try to also sell groceries. But is there
Yeah,
any? But
yeah.
that's me. That's me. Is there any extraordinary effort, for example, for Matahari to pivot their business and try to gain
Oh
something out of
yes,
it?
yes, yes. A lot, kind of, So I think any organization during this period, right, would want to protect the business, and then it is pivoting, right? So it is two pieces, right? How you protect your current and how you pivot towards future. So for us, if I put it up, we actually did take steps. Sorry. So we did take steps on both sides, right? I'm sure you'd have read in newspapers that we did close some unprofitable stores, say, right? So if the store was not profitable and we were even otherwise thinking of this, not a better time than to close during COVID, right? And be out of it. So you do things on protecting, but also you do a lot in terms of pivoting the business. So in terms of pivoting the business, we are taking a lot of initiatives towards ensuring that we reorganize our business in the way customer wants to see it. So we did some changes in terms of how we arrange our products, how we look at internally, and how we look at it from a customer perspective. We did look at what are the various safety measures that is needed. Like, clearly one piece that we felt is that in our portfolio we did not have safety as a category. So how do we bring in and we are able to sell through those products in terms of mix? We did change our marketing strategy, right? And we focused more on safety rather than just on emotions or just on product, because we know that it is very, very important. So if you would have seen, most of the activities that was done by us during this COVID period was to ensure that our customers stay safe and not to push them into coming into a store and buy, because we know that if there is a relationship that you build with your customer, if there's a trust that you build with your customer, they will come back to you when things are going better, right? But you need to focus on pivoting various ways of how we do things in a more sustainable long-term perspective, more so during COVID period.
I see. I see. Many people or many experts say that this situation will last, I don't know, maybe the shortest maybe 1 year, or it could be 2 years, or it would last until the vaccine is invented. So many people still don't know the horizon. Actually, no one knows when
No one
horizon
knows.
about. No one knows, right? So, what is your worst scenario?
That's a tough one. See, it's a wild guess by everyone, right? Um, when we look at some of the other countries in the world, we are also now hearing that there's a re-emergence of COVID new cases coming in. We just read that even in China there were a few more new cases coming up. Even in some of the Western world that has happened. So it is very difficult to comment on it. Like even for Singapore, it was that it has got into control, and then they had to go into a kind of going back to recloser kind of for specific reasons. I personally feel that it will not be fully recovered in 2020, and the earliest it will be fully recovered is 2021. I know that all our doctor friends and everybody in the medical fraternity are working very, very hard to ensure that they are able to come up with a treatment, with a solution for the problem. But to get at a mass scale, I think it is still 6 months away, to put it up that way, at least. I don't know. What is your view? It is an open question for anyone. Everybody has a different view here.
Yeah, everyone will have their own different perspective on it, right? I mean, the situation. So far, I know you've been in the position for only a short period. What is your biggest challenge? I believe the situation is a very big challenge. But so far in your period in Matahari, what is your biggest challenge?
See, okay. I think that for from a career perspective, right? The first thing that you have to do is get with your people and understand them. I think people is the largest resource that any organization have, right? So luckily, kind of coming in from India and already having worked 7 years in Indonesia, it was much easier for me to understand people and to work along with him and get to understand it. So that to me is normally a challenge. But touch wood, I've got a very strong team here, much stronger than I would have wished. So it is very, very good, right? That you have a strong team whom you can go on to and you can learn from them. And then it is to understand the business and understand the processes and systems before you can impact it. That was at the initial stage, but now during COVID, it is a different ball game. When you are doing a COVID situation, you have to balance between, you have multiple priorities, right? You have to ensure that you are taking care of your people first, but at the same time you are taking care of customer, but you also want to take care of the business. So you have got multiple stakeholders that you have to manage, and that is challenge, right? And how do you act in such scenarios that it is a win-win for everyone, and you are still able to still sustain the business for the longest term without having a knee jerk or without having without having a massive impact on any areas. So how do you balance between various requirements, right? Uh, like like say it is very easy to shut down all stores, right? But then that has got an impact on your staff who is still at home, and it has got an impact on your stock which is still there, and on your vendors who still need payment. So how do you balance, right? But at the same time, you also have customers who want to shop, so you can't, it is no one size fits all, and you have to make every decision from various perspectives. For us, like say, even when we were reopening, we had multiple such such decisions that we had to make, and we had to say that yes, we will do this, but we will not do this. And at times, like I'll give you an example. So we ran a 5-star pledge in Matahari stores, and our 5-star pledge had that we'll give priority to families, right? Now, at times that can disappoint someone who is single shopping there. That why are you bringing the person with family in the front? There's no right or wrong answer in such environment, right? We understand that yes, we want kids and families to be out first, and then we said, okay, let's do one thing. We create a separate queue for families, so that you want families to be out first. Or say another example would be, we said that we want customer to follow a particular path into the store. So you have seen Matahari store, which is like big size, 6,000 square meter, right? And we said that we will have entry from only one gate. And we saw a lot of customers actually initially complaining about it. And our security there had to explain the customers that we want you to enter from one gate, so that it's not too many customers are coming together. They are not mixing with each other and passing in. And we need to ensure that there is safe distance between customers. And we allow customers to exit from multiple gates. So, you enter from one gate, you exit from multiple gates, which allows customers to stay far from each other. Now, ideally, you will want customers to all come in from all gates, right, and shop. But you have to take a tough call during this period to manage it. We talked about the dressing room or the trial room. We did give priority to medical staff, because we know that they are at this stage of time, they are serving a much larger national cause, and we need to support them, right? We did a lot in terms of temperature check, ensuring that our staffs are following all protocols which are mandated by government. We wanted to ensure that there is enough room to move. We have got traffic counters in stores, and we actually, to be honest, I'll not name the store, but in one of our stores, we had to pull the shutter down so that we don't have too many customers coming into the store at the same time. And and sometimes it goes negative in media because there's a queue outside your store, but we know that we understand what we are trying to do is avoid too many people inside, because that is also dangerous, right? So to ensure the 50-50 protocol which was set in place. So there are lots of examples how you have to change your priorities, and you have to balance it during this period, considering safety, considering customer safety, employee safety, as well as stakeholders, as well as everything else.
Yep, agree with that. I mean, in this situation, what kind of factors that you think actually benefiting Matahari in surviving this crisis, this pandemic? Actually, because of the inherent values or inherent infrastructure or inherent strengths, for example, the right consumers of Matahari, the right people of Matahari, the right infrastructure, the number of stores, the logistic capabilities, for example. Which factor do you think benefit Matahari in surviving the pandemic, and which actually you wish that Matahari has done better? Because these factors actually give burden to Matahari in this situation.
See, there is no one factor. There's a combination of factor, right? I think the thing that worked best for us was transparency and frequent communication with our employees and with vendors and customers for that matter. We were, so even I can, as early as in March, we actually started communicating with our employees on what's happening around the world and started to prepare employees about what could be the worst case, right? And that helped employees to understand that yes, this is happening and this is coming, and not necessarily we all expect that this is happening in China can happen in Indonesia, but we started preparing for it in both positive side as well as if it turns dirty, like after. So to give you an example, while we were preparing for Lebaran and we were buying more stock, but we were also closely watching as to what's happening in rest of the world and how are the number of cases increasing in Indonesia, and we took a call that we'll close our stores for safety of our employees before PSBB was in place, and I think that that was well accepted by our staffs because they clearly understood that this is for their safety. Because from the organization perspective, it is not a mandatory piece, but for employees, you want them to be safe, and you want to ensure that they don't get they don't get into COVID and they are staying safe. So I think transparency and communication with employees was very, very important, and I think that really, really helped us. The second thing, when we started to reopen, right, till last week, we got tested by around 153 times by, government has appointed this COVID inspection task force, right? So we got, till last week, we got inspected 153 times. And the good piece is all our stores every time passed the COVID protocol test. In fact, I think for 4 locations, we are considered as the role models. So like, the government guys came with their full camera and media to shoot in our stores so that they can guide other unorganized retailers on how we are doing it and ask them to follow our protocols. And for, I think, 11 or 12 stores, we are part of the National Health Protocol. There's a contest, right? So we are part of that in the finalist, and the results are, I think, expected in a week or so. So kind of, ensuring that you're quickly able to up your standard, which is linked to execution and again linked to people, that how you work together and you're able to execute it and you're able to communicate to your customers. We do have stores across the country. That works a plus and both a minus, right? The plus is that when there is a larger impact in Jakarta, you are able to still trade stores in some other parts of the country. But then it is also a challenge to ensure safety of your staffs in a far-off area where medical facilities are not as good as you'd want it to be, right? So you have to balance between it. On your question that if there was one thing if we had done differently and could have, or if it was different, was most of our stores are actually in malls. And I personally feel that if there are stores which are on high street, those would have done larger or better business than stores in malls. Because, as a customer, you feel more comfortable that you have to just get into a store, buy and get out, versus you have to go into the mall and go pass through everywhere and then get into a store and shop. So I think if I look at it, I think that could have been a different place if we had high street stores, kind of, again, it works plus and minus, as I told you, right? But I think people has been our largest strength, to put it up that way. Our people were all appreciative of what we are doing. What we also did was we had salary cuts for people, and senior people in the organization took larger cut. So say starting from 20%, but manager took a 30%, then say at the most senior level we took 50% cut, which I think is the right decision to take during this tough period and ensure that we are able to sustain during this period, and people coming forward and understanding what is the situation and working towards that. I think that is a very big strength. Matahari has got a very strong brand name in Indonesian consumer space, and we have got very loyal customers who have shopped with us throughout generations, and that really our connection with our customers continue to remain the strength.
Of course, of course. Who doesn't know about Matahari? I think most Indonesians will know. It's a brand that basically has been here ages. Talking about the location, do you see it as a long-term effect in terms of your preference now to have presence in higher street rather than shopping malls? Do you think it's a long-term view that probably
Not,
next to go out shopping malls?
not necessarily that. See, there is no right or wrong piece, right? It's a strategy that you make for the business. Yes, we might explore a couple of high street, but not full high street, because we also know on the other side, like during COVID, yes, you might want to do a high street, but during a non-COVID, you might want to go to a place wherein you can go with your family, with your kids, and you can have lunch, dinner with them. You can do multiple activities. You could watch a cinema. You could have some play zone. So there's no right or wrong answer, but we do feel that it has to be a combination of both, and we do feel that customers do want to go to one place wherein they can do multiple activities.
Yep, understood. That's very reasonable. There's a one good question from our audience here. How Matahari convince the consumer that actually the goods, the fashion products that are sold in the Matahari actually safe and hygiene enough for people to
Yes.
purchase?
So what we do is yeah, I'm sure if you would have visited Matahari store, you would have seen that there are people who are with sanitizer and who are with all the cleaning equipment. So it's good that you asked me that question. Like, we cut our budget on travel, we cut our budget on various expense lines, right? But one area wherein we have increased our budget spend is on safety. So what we are ensuring is that our products are kept to the highest level of hygiene. We are ensuring that nobody is allowed to trial the product. If they are trialing, then it cannot go back to the shelf. If somebody has tried a product like now, then it has to be getting disinfected, and then only it goes back to the pause. And also, when we are packing it in a piece. We ensure that our customers are wearing masks when they are shopping. We expect when the customer is moving out, we are stapling it, and we expect that the customer is not opening it as soon as they go home, but they open it after 8 hours, 10 hours, so that even if there was something, it is all clean. Because even during transit, right, from store to there, something may touch your packet. So it is all advisable, and these are all best practices that we are pushing for.
How many days can people return the purchase if they want to return it?
14 days now. From 7 days earlier.
2 weeks. So, teman-teman Laku Mas 2 minggu yang belanja di Matahari bisa return the fashion product. I think it's good. So you don't allow people to try the fashion in the store. You allow people to return in 14 days. You provide all the necessary distancing facilities, sanitizer.
Yeah, you want customers to feel safe, right? Now, like if some customers want to say, okay, we want to do this, then if they want to try, then you want to ensure that the products are kept separated and they are not mixed with other customers trying the same product, right? So you want to ensure that you maintain hygiene, and at the same time you want to give customer a choice to return over a longer period of time. Actually, what we did is we had certain cases wherein a customer, instead of coming in 14 days, came after 21 days. And during this COVID period, we even accepted after that period. So, right, we understand that people have got priorities and we want to help people.
Yep. There's another good question, I think, from our audience. He says, how do you manage cash flow in this situation, considering that you have a lot of stores everywhere and also have a lot of employees? How do you manage your cash flows?
Oh, okay. This is straight upon me. So see, in terms of cash flow, the good piece is we are Matahari has been in Indonesia and we are cash sufficient, kind of no. So if you look at Matahari's balance sheet in the past, we never had we never were in a position wherein we were taking bank loans. We had a bank facility of 1.7 trillion, and we were during this COVID period, and I told you, right, my team is strong. They were able to get another additional bank facility of 500 billion to ensure, in the worst case scenario, if all stores are closed, I can still pay my staff salary for at least 6 to 9 months. We want to ensure that our staffs are there and they are getting salary and we don't have an issue in it. Now, we did negotiate with our vendors, and we did extended payment terms with our vendors. So we told them that yes, this is a COVID position. They also understand it, right? Everybody is understanding what is the situation. And our vendors are our largest partners and they also understand it, and we were able to agree on extended payment terms with our vendors. So it helped us spread it over a period of time. The other piece was also in terms of how do you ensure that you are not spending money on your capex. Like say we closed all our non-essential capex, right? We ensure that, like, say you're spending on safety, but you're not spending on luxury trip, or say you're not spending on staff gathering for during this period. So we, instead of having staff gathering, we had Zoom gathering, which had more than 500 people attend. So you work with the new ways of working. We did negotiate with all our landlords for all the 150 malls that we have, and we have been able to get rental waivers from many of them during this period. So you do take action on almost all lines to ensure that your cash flow remains strong. You are able to sustain the business for the longer term, and you are able to meet your employee and vendor requirements.
Yes. Now I think I will be interested to talk about yourself, Niraj. You are a very experienced professional in finance, in retail, and previously in F&B. If there is a time to rewind, is there any regret in your career? Or do you think that you will do retail again because it's your blood, for example? How do you see your career so far?
See, if I look at my career, I started with manufacturing, automobile industry. So I started my career, again, I'm talking about after my KPMG days, right? So after KPMG, I started with my automobile, which was very interesting as a bachelor. You are working in a motorcycle company, and which was TVS Motors. They have factory here, and so starting in there, and then I went into FMCG slash consumer with Dulux Paints brand, which was in India, and then I was also based out of Malaysia, taking care of a region. So Indonesia was my region, and that was my first interaction with Indonesia, because I was taking care of Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, Vietnam, Thailand. So, and then going back to India and working with Yum in the F&B space. Now, when I look at it, these were all different industry, right? You start with automobile, then you go to chemical, paint, FMCG space, and then you go into F&B, which is very much relatable to customers, coming into Canmo, which was Mothercare, ELC, and now into Mass. I think all industries have its own plus and minus, but retail, to me, I've been able to associate a lot directly. It is something that you can feel, and you can feel what is happening. So I love retail from that perspective and thoroughly enjoying it. The other day, I and my wife were having a discussion on destiny. So I got married in TVS, and I used to travel 25 days a month. And my wife gave me ultimatum: if you need to travel 25 nights in a month, you better not be with me. So I decided that, okay, I want to change. And my boss at that point of time told me, okay, Niraj, why don't you go and take care of Indonesia plant? And I was like, no, I'm not going to Indonesia. And that's when I moved into Dulux Paints. And in Dulux Paint, I was sent to Malaysia with my wife on a regional role wherein Indonesia was my market. And when in Dulux, I was getting transferred to India. So they asked us that, do you want to work in some other market? And I was like, no, it's enough. We'll go back to India. And then again, you land back into Indonesia. So I strongly believe that it is in destiny, and then you are here for 7 years and you are thoroughly enjoying. You're in the right country and the right market. I feel. I think Indonesian people are the most warm people that I have met. You know, anybody who goes back from Indonesia, and whenever I've interacted with them, they always speak very high of Indonesian hospitality, and kind of how people are so warm. So I think that is something which is very commendable, and I thoroughly enjoy Indonesia.
So no regret about your career and your Indonesia career now, right? Very
No,
good,
no,
very nice. Is there
no.
any personal mission that you would like to accomplish right now?
See, right now, again, you know, my wife is more into social, all that element, and also a lot on that side of it, in terms of giving back to the society. So clearly, something that is within me is, how do I contribute and give back more to the society, and how do I contribute more towards the society, kind of, how we are able to help more and more people. uh, Again, we all do our bits and pieces to help people in need, but how can we make up something which can be more long term, and which can have impact on the next generation to come? I think that is very important to me.
Yep. I think we are almost running out of time. Um, Talking to you was always nice and exciting. 1 hour passed so quickly. Is there any message you would like to say to the younger generation that are listening to our discussion, especially in this situation? Mm.
I think we all need to have patience. We all need to stay calm, and we all need to ensure that we stay safe and stay healthy. I think that is critical here. We know that situations are tough. Some of us are not with our families. Some of us are in financial distress. Some of us are in physical distress. But we need to ensure that we maintain positivity during these tough times. And as they say, this too shall pass. So we need to ensure that we pass through this and come up stronger.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Niraj. Terima kasih untuk semua yang juga sudah menonton discussion kita antara saya dengan Niraj, CFO dari Matahari Department Store. Kita akan jumpa lagi di Gold Talks kita yang berikutnya. Hopefully you guys get inspired by Niraj and follow his Instagram also. Thank you, Niraj. I send my regrets to your wife, Vibhav, and the kids.
Sure. Thank you for having me here, and it's absolute pleasure. Thanks.
Yeah, my pleasure as well. Bye.
Bye.